Hello everyone, welcome to day 7 of our 30 days of code challenge. We are just getting started, and today's session we are going to be creating a simple digital clock. So we are going to be harnessing the power of HTML. We are going to be designing it using CSS, and then we are going to add functionality to it using JavaScript. So let's dive right into it. My screen now so you can see. Okay, so the first thing I do is to open my VS Code. So open my VS Code, I have to go to the folder, open folder, then I'm going to my desktop, our 30 days of code, and this is day 7. Select folder. Let me cancel this. So I added an image to my folder because we'll be requiring an image for our background in today's project. So now let me create 3 more files. The first one I'm going to call index.html. Index.html. The next file I'm going to create, I'm going to call it index.js. Now we have index.js. Then the last one I'm going to call style.css. Style.css. So the first thing I would like to do is to link my HTML, my CSS, and my JavaScript to my HTML file. So let me rename this. I'll rename it to digital clock. Digital clock. So let's add the link. So on the link we have style.css. So to link in order to link the JavaScript to it, you are going to have the scripts. So source, that will be index.js. So now we have successfully linked our CSS and our JavaScript to our HTML. So we are creating a digital clock. In order for you to see everything I'm doing, I'll go live so you can see all the changes I'm making to my screen in real time. Okay, let me minimize this. Good. So let's create a div that will contain our digital clock. So generally, the digits that we have on the digital clock, we have the hours, followed by the we have the hours, followed by the minutes, and then the seconds. So as you can see it on my screen, we have the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. But so let me give this an ID of clock. Yeah, so let me give that an ID of what of clock. Now let me place all this into a clock container. Let me place all this into a clock container. So I'm cutting all this right about now. I'm cutting it and I'm placing it in another div. So so I just placed all my clock, I placed it in another div. So this div I'm going to give it an ID of clock container. Clock container, clock. Very good. So let's style this up a little bit. So the first thing I would like to do now, I'll go to my style.css and I want to design the body of my digital clock. And the first thing I want to add a background image to it. So we have our background image. So this background image, I'm going to use an all to call it. Now, this all is the name of your image as long as the image is inside your folder. For me now, I have an image whose name is background in my folder. So I'm just going to copy the name of this image and I'm just going to paste it here and I'll give us just what we want. Background dot jpeg. That's all. So as you can see, almost instantaneously, we have the background displayed on our screen. Let me maximize this to make it so. This is the background image. This is our clock test. This is the background image. Let me minimize that back. Now I want to adjust this background image so it fits in correctly. So the first thing we are going to do, we are going to say background position. Sorry, background position. So I want to make the background position to be at the center. So I want the image to be at the center of my screen. Another thing that I want to take note of is the size of the image. So I want this image to fill up all my screen. So I'm going to adjust the size. I'll set the background size, background size. I want the background size to cover all screen. Background size should cover. Let me maximize that. So that's what you have. So this background screen now covers all my screen. So that is good for what we have under the body. So let's move away from the body now. The one of the first things I want to go into now, I want to go to the clock container. I want to design the container of our clock. So I'll go back to my CSS and I have to select the ID of clock container. That'll be hash clock container. Clock container. So the first thing I would like to change is the display. I want to change the display of my clock container. So the display I would like to change to grid. So I want to move everything to the center. That is this text that I have here, this clock text, I want to move it to the center. So display grid, justify contents, justify, justify contents, center. Now notice that for now, I have my text here, but once I complete it, you see it moves to the center. Justify content center. But that's not enough. I want to bring it to the center. I've just brought it to the center horizontally. I also want to bring it to the center vertically. To do that, that will be align items center. Align item center. So to make it obvious, I'm going to set an height of 100 VH, which is the full screen. So as you can now see, my clock text is now in the middle of my screen. Let me maximize that. So the clock text is now in the middle of my screen. But I have a very big screen. I have a very small font. So even the clock text is not really that obvious. It's not really that visible. So what do I have to do to make it visible? I have to go back to the ID of clock. Now I want to design this to make it obvious, to make it bold, to make it legible. So I'll go to by style, then I'm going to select the ID of clock. So the first thing that I want to do to this clock is that I want to make it bigger. That's the font size. Font size, let's make it 6.5 REM. That is very good. So my clock text is now obvious. Even on the bigger screen, it is still what? It is still obvious. This is good. This is great. Font size. Let me change the font family. Let's pick Arial. Yeah, let me go with this. Very good. So let me make it bold. That's the font weight. Yeah, again. font width. Yeah, font width bold. Let me minimize my screen so you can see what I'm doing. I just bolden the font width, so the font width is now bold. Another thing I want to add now is I want to add some background colors to this. Let me add background color. Let me add background color to this. See that anything button? Let me go for brown. Now it's this brown. Let me pick this. Very good. Okay. Okay. Good. So I just pick this background color for my text. Next, I want to add some padding to it. Let me give the padding of 20 pixels. Very good. With the padding of 20 pixels, it looks like that. Now let me add some backdrop filter to it. Backdrop filter. So this backdrop filter, I want to make it blurry. So how blurry should it be? How thick should this blur be? So let's make it 15 pixels. Very good. So I just added some backdrop filter to it. So another thing I want to do apart from adding the backdrop is that I want to let me maximize my screen. The edges are a little bit sharp. Let me make it a little bit rounded so it can be attractive. So that will be border radius. Let's make it the border radius of 25 pixels. Very good. So with the border radius of 25 pixels, this is what we have. Okay. Okay. That's great. This is beautiful. At least for the UI of the clock, it is a little bit good now. It is great. It is great now. So I'm thinking of changing this a little bit more lighter color. Let me change this. Let's change this color. Okay, good. I think this is better. It's white color. So okay, now we are done with the UI. Let's move on to the functionalities. Let's add some functionalities to our clock. Let our clock start ticking. So in order for us to do that, you have to go back to the JavaScript. So now in the JavaScript, the first thing I'm going to do is that I want to create a function. I want to name this function updates clock. So I want this function to help us to update our clock. So the first thing I want to declare in this clock, I want to declare the now that becomes now, and I want the const now to be equals to new date. So const now equals to new date. So the next thing I want to declare, let hours. No, we have hours, we have minutes, we have seconds. So let hours be equal to now dots get hours now dots get hours dots to string dots pad starts, and pad start will come out 2.0. So okay, so this is what we've just done. Let hours equals to now dot get hours dot to string dot pass starts 0.0. Let's do the same thing for our minutes, but now we're going to have const minutes equals to now dot get minutes dot to string dot pad starts. 2, 0. Last but not the least, we have the const seconds equals to now dot get seconds dot to string dot pad start 2, 0. So now we have declared our hours, we have declared the minutes, and we have declared the what? We have declared the seconds. So the next thing we have to do now is to add the time string to it. Time string. So this time string will be equal to, let me use some brackets here. So let me add some curly braces for the hours. Then some curly braces for the minutes. And some curly braces for the seconds. Very good, that's that for the time string. So what should this time string be equals to? So now we're going to have, let's release this time string to our clock. You know, the clock have an ID of clock. So to amalgamate it together, we are going to have documents dot get elements by ID, and that will be equal to clock dot text content. So what this simply means is that we want to change the text content of this clock. We want to change it to anything that we have in the time string. Very good. So anything we have in the time string should be displayed in the clock, which will appear on our what? Which will appear on our screen. So that is as good as that. So now let's call on our function. We have update clock. Call upon. Very good. So you see, the immediately we call upon the function, our clock is displayed on our screen. Let me maximize my screen so we can see it legibly. So this is our what? This is our clock. This is our hours is being displayed correctly. The minutes is being displayed correctly. The seconds is also being displayed. But one thing you have to note about the seconds is that the seconds are not changing past seconds. The seconds is not changing. Although the clock is working, yes, but the clock is not. The seconds is not changing. That means this is an half-baked cake. Our cake is not fully ready yet. So to change that narrative, we have to change the rate at which our clock is being displayed. So now we are going to set in server, open bracket, update clock, comma 1000. This means that every 1000 milliseconds the clock should update. And what is the effect of this? Look at our screen now. So let me share my screen again. Share. Share. Yes. Very good. So So with this, our clock is now working. Our clock is working perfectly fine now. So the next adjustment that I want to make now is in the amount of hours. Because if you notice now, we have 23 hours, 51 minutes, 20 something seconds. So, but I want to rearrange this so it displays in meridian, so it displays in anti-meridian, so it displays in post-meridian. So before 12 noon, it should display in anti-meridian, and after 12 noon, it should display in post-meridian, which is PM. So to change that, I'm going to go back to our hours. Then I'm going to declare the meridian. So to declare the meridian, I will have const meridian. So the const meridian is equal to whenever the hours is greater than or equal to 12. So whenever the hours is greater than or equal to 12, what should happen whenever the hours is greater than? I want it to be displayed. I want the clock to be displayed as a post meridian. But if the hours is not up to 12, then it should be displayed as anti-meridian. Very good. So that's what we have just listened there. Very good. So the AM and PM. Now from here, we are going to say that means our hours is equal to hours divided by 12 divided by what? By 12. So from here, our hours will be equal to hours dot to string hours dot to string dot part start 2 comma 0. So up to this point, it looks as if nothing have changed, but that's because we haven't changed the time string yet. And notice that anything displayed, anything that is being displayed in the time string is what we have on our screen. So I'm just going to change that by adding the meridian to it. So to do that, now we're going to have this, and then we're going to have curly braces, meridian, and just like that, you see, that's the magic. So now we have our clock being displayed in meridian. So for now, because the time is above 12, this is 11:54 p.m. Once it is 12 o'clock, it will change back to what? A.m. So what have we done today? Today, let me maximize my screen so you can see it. Very good. So this is the beautiful digital clock that we have just created today. So what have we done today? Today we have just created a beautiful digital clock using the power of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So today we created some structures using the HTML. We designed it using our CSS to get this beautiful design, and then we added functionality to our digital clock using the using the JavaScript, and we were able to get this beautiful looking digital clock that displays both in meridian and in anti-meridian. So for now, we have 11:55 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us in today's session. We look forward to having you in our subsequent sessions. Remember, continue to take it work. Let's continue growing our skills. Let's continue improving. Let's continue learning. Let's continue growing. Take it works. Thank you so much for being there.